The reason we'll never see another rapper like YNW Melly. There's something haunting about YNW Melly. Even if you don't know his story, his music carries this strange weight. Like you're hearing a confession disguised as a melody. It's the kind of art that's so raw and complex that you don't just listen to it, you feel it. And when you look at the rise and fall of YNW Melly, you realize this isn't a story that could be repeated. Melly wasn't just another rapper trying to make it out of a tough situation. He was an artist who wore his pain on his sleeve, and in his voice. His music could go from heartbreakingly beautiful to disturbingly dark in a single verse. Tracks like Murder on My Mind turned heads not just because they were catchy, but because they felt real, too real. Growing up in Gifford, Florida, Melly didn't have an easy life. His environment was tough, chaotic, and filled with violence, and it seeped into his music. But what set him apart was his ability to take that chaos and turn it into something poetic. His voice carried this unique vulnerability. Whether he was singing about love, loss, or his inner demons, it felt like you were listening to someone bearing their soul. And that's what made him stand out. He wasn't afraid to let the world see his flaws. He wasn't hiding behind a persona or trying to be something he wasn't. He gave us YNW Melly raw and unfiltered. And because of that, his music resonated with millions. But here's the thing. With Melly, the line between art and reality was always blurred. It wasn't just in the lyrics, it was in how he carried himself, how he lived his life. His songs weren't just stories, they were windows into his reality. And as much as people loved him for his honesty, it was also what made him dangerous. Because when you're that real, when your art reflects your life so closely, it's easy for people to misinterpret. Fans might call it genius, critics might call it reckless. And for Melly, it became both his greatest strength and his ultimate downfall. His career skyrocketed after Murder on My Mind, but the fame came with scrutiny. The song wasn't just a hit, it became a symbol of the duality that defined Melly's life, the artist who made beautiful music, and the man who couldn't escape the darkness of his past. And then the headlines hit, accusations of double murder, stories about betrayal, legal battles, and courtroom drama. It was like his life had turned into one of his songs, dark, intense, and deeply tragic. Some people couldn't separate the artist from the accusations. Others saw the story as proof of the world Melly had been singing about all along. And through it all, his music never stopped hitting hard. Even from behind bars, his voice kept reaching people. But that's where the story shifts. Melly isn't just another rapper who got caught up in the system. He's a symbol of something bigger, a reminder of how thin the line is between genius and self-destruction, between fame and infamy. So will we ever see another rapper like YNW Melly? Probably not. Because Melly wasn't just an artist, he was a mirror, reflecting a world that's both beautiful and brutal, a world that shaped him and ultimately consumed him. And that's why his story sticks with us. Because it's not just about the music, it's about a young man who turned his pain into art, who walked the fine line between his dreams and his demons, and who left us with a legacy that's as unforgettable as it is tragic. There will always be new artists, new voices, and new stories, but none of them will ever have that same raw, haunting truth that made YNW Melly one of a kind, and maybe, just maybe, that's for the best.